A bit of Pep news. Pepperino, pepperoni. Pep wants to stay. He wants to stay at Manchester City. That is music to my ears. Can you believe it, Blues? Because this man has absolutely ripped the Premier League to shreds in the last 5 or 6 years, and a little bit beyond that, to be honest. 9 years we're going to have Pep Guardiola for at least. But he said he wants to stay. And this is music to my ears and nightmare scenarios for all of our rival fans, in particular the Liverpool fans, Arsenal fans and Manchester United fans, who are my favourite set of fans to laugh at, because in truth, this is one of my favourite videos. I want to play it right now because it always reminds me of this one particular clip. Whenever we talk about Pep Guardiola, I'm always reminded of that moment where United fans thought they were going to get Pep. When Ferguson was on his way out, and they thought, there was rumours and strong rumours that Pep may join Manchester United. The excitement that flooded through their veins absolutely soared through Manchester United news, and it was absolutely hilarious to see where the eventual outcome being in a Manchester City managerial dugout, and it's just absolutely beautiful. Let's play the clip right now. This is from Full Time Devils, and the I was going to say legend, but is the legend the right word? I'm not sure for Stephen Howson. Dickhead, that's probably the word I was looking for. Let's have a listen to what he said.
The biggest news in world football, all over the place, is Pep Guardiola.
Pep Guardiola won everything that there is to win. Loved by a lot. Clearly one of the top coaches in the world.
So this is huge news. For me, it makes perfect sense for us to go to Pep Guardiola now. The only thing that's happened is Pep Guardiola's gone to Manchester City.
He brings no guarantee of success. There's a lot of question marks and a lot of holes in Pep Guardiola. I don't think he's shown the fight. I think the way he left Barcelona, I don't get a good feeling about him, and I'm not that bothered that he's not come to United.
Brilliant, really. He brings no guarantee of success, Pep Guardiola. Even though you were buzzing about that 10 minutes before you said that the idea of him joining Manchester United and then gone, obliterated, then you just... denial ain't just a river in Egypt, is it? I mean, it flows through Old Trafford. I mean, it might as well do. Might as well do with the amount of water that pours through that crumbling shithole that is Old Trafford. The Nile might as well flow through Old Trafford. Everything else fucking flows through it. All the piss and the shit coming out of the toilets in that absolute dump. But Pep Guardiola could stay, and I mean, that has got to be nightmare material for all of our rival fans. All of our rival fans. It's absolutely music to my ears, and I can't wait for this to be officially announced, and I'm praying it does, but Pep has said it himself that he wants to stay. Now, that's as close to signing the contract as you can possibly get, really, without officially announcing it. But before I move on further into this video, let's see what the man himself has said, because Pep has delivered some wonderful news to Manchester City fans already in this summer transfer window with the idea of Kevin De Bruyne maybe on his way to Saudi. Pep shut that down. No messing around at all from Pep Guardiola. Whenever he's been interviewed, he's come out with some absolute corkers for Manchester City. So let's hear what he had to say following being questioned as to why he said what he said at the end of last season, where he said he's closer to leaving than he is staying. And he makes sense of that. I think most logical people with a couple of brain cells that are knocking about in their heads will have understood what he meant by that, he's not going to stay another 8 more years. But let's have a listen to what Pep said himself.
I know maybe I was not correct to say in the right moment when we won the Premier League, but I'm saying that I've been 8 years in Man City, so I'm not be 8 more years. So that's why I'm more closer to leave than stay. But I didn't say I'm leaving. So never ever, I would say, when I'm leaving, I would say I'm leaving. But I didn't say. So that was my approach. Maybe I was not correct to say, or that was my feeling right now. So we spoke with the club and said, it's a lot of years, so we'll see what happens. But I not ruled it out absolutely to extend the contract. So when I said to Samuel, so I would love to stay because I would love to stay.
I would love to stay. I would love to stay. That's what he said. He wants to stay. I can't get over it. It's such good news. amazing. And I mean, we know what we've already seen, and it was never going to be achievable without Pep Guardiola. 6 titles in 7 years. There is no comparison. And the rivals' hatred is very much fueled by jealousy. And jealousy is the fear of comparison. That's what jealousy is. It's the fear of comparison. So let's compare, shall we? Let's have a little look at the stats for the best managers that the Premier League has ever seen here. So with a manager win ratio and points per match ratio, league table, it's not even close, really, is it? 74% win ratio for Pep Guardiola, and no one else has even got into the 70%. He's not just in the 70%, he's 74%. Points per match, 2.35, miles ahead of second place, which is the great Alex Ferguson, who once upon a time was never going to be surpassed. Everything he did was the pedestal, the top, the benchmark of the Premier League was Ferguson. He's not just beaten it, he's absolutely smashed the living piss out of it. He's absolutely wiped the fucking floor with every single record that Alex Ferguson has dared to lay on the ground. He's just wiped his arse with it, Pep Guardiola. He's destroyed it. Treble, continental treble, you'll never do that, mate. You'll never do that. It's a one of a kind. Wrong. Wrong. The guy's unstoppable. I mean, look at the other managers on this list. Klopp. I mean, I hear Liverpool fans, they were celebrating the idea of the head-to-head record against Pep Guardiola. Klopp's got a fantastic record, head-to-head. When he plays Manchester City or Bayern Munich when he was in the Borussia Dortmund dugout, he's got a great record against Pep Guardiola, okay? But aren't there other football matches that get played in the course of a season? I'm sure there are other football matches. It's not just the "we beat Man City" trophy that they get. I don't think they get a trophy for that. They wanted a trophy for finishing second place. Mourinho also said that his greatest ever achievement was finishing second place to Manchester City while he was manager of Manchester United. So, I mean, 6 titles out of 7 years speaks volumes to that. There is no one better. The only other title that was won in those 7 years was by Jurgen Klopp. So congratulations to him, but where's he now? He's off sleeping. He's hibernating because Pep's beating the living shit out of him, and he's gone to bed. He's had enough. He's too tired. He can't compete. He's quit. I'm off. I'm going for a big, long nap. Night-night, Jurgen, mate. Have a good sleep. Don't have any nightmares about Pep Guardiola's lifting trophy after trophy. And I mean, it's just absolutely music to my ears, Blues. What does this mean for the transfer window as well? Because now we've got exciting news coming. Hopefully we get that extension. Will it be 1 year extension? Will it happen at all, by the way? Because he said he wanted to stay. And before I go, I wanted to play you something else quickly. Let's go back to what else he said. Pep Guardiola said something else in this interview that I thought was really, really interesting. And it shows the humility and how humble Pep Guardiola is.
9 years today in the same club is an eternity, and I want to be sure it's the right decision, not just for me, for the club. It's the right decision for the players. It's still they run like they already ran 8 years. It doesn't matter the competition, it doesn't matter the tournament, and this is what I have to see.
So Pep wants to see if it's the right decision for the club. He's pretending. He's either incredibly humble. Surely he's pretending that we'll see if it's the right decision for the club. You know, as if the club don't want him, as if the fans don't adore him, as if the players don't want to be coached by this man. He's an absolute genius. There is no stopping Pep Guardiola, and of course the club wants to extend this man's contract. So who's not going to put 2 and 2 together here and very simply get 4? Because he himself has said he wants to stay. Obviously, the club wants him to stay. If those 2 factors are true, and I mean, come on, the club clearly want him to stay. That's not been publicly announced and probably never would be until an actual contract extension was announced. That plus that equals Pep stays for me. New contract. That's what that means. Surely. There is no other outcome to this. I'm so excited. I truly am. And I firmly believe that this is hopefully a stepping stone in the right direction for the transfer market as well, because I think a lot of the rumours right now are all very much players leaving Manchester City. And my hatred for the English media in particular knows no bounds right now, because this news in particular, for a start, when the words of a manager like Pep Guardiola says he wants to stay, comes out of the manager himself, of Pep saying those words, why would that not be absolutely monstrous news to talk about? Because it's devastating news for the rest of the Premier League. It won't sell tickets to the general fan, to the neutral. It will sell tickets to Manchester City fans, and they're not interested in doing that. They don't want to sell tickets and clicks and views and opening of newspapers. However you get your news, no one wants to do that when it's specifically geared towards pro-Man City fans' news. They're not interested. But when Pep said what he said after that game at the end of the season, said, I'm closer to leaving than staying, well, everyone fucking wet the bed, didn't they? And everyone was absolutely like, oh my God, Pep could be leaving. Everyone wanking themselves silly over the idea that maybe the field will be levelled, and it will be a level playing field once again for everybody else, because Pep is streets ahead of the rest, miles ahead of the rest of the competition. And meanwhile, the media have heard this news that Pep has said himself that he wants to stay. A little article here and a little article, brush it under the carpet and hope that he doesn't extend. And when the official announcement comes through, they're going to have to talk about it. And when we win our 5th Premier League title in a row, they're going to have to talk about it. And maybe a 6th, who knows? Who knows what we're going to do with this football club? Maybe Pep will stay forever. That's not going to happen, Blues. Let's not get carried away. I'm getting carried away here. One more year would be absolutely unbelievable if it could get him to 10 years after that. Who knows, maybe a 2-year contract extension, give him 11 years on top of that. Absolutely sensational news. What does this mean for the transfer market? That was a point I also wanted to raise. Players coming in now, because we've had a lot of players leaving. The idea that some of the players may now stay, that may make those decisions concrete as well, because if Pep's staying, then a lot of the players know where their future lies in day-to-day training, who's going to be the boss, that sort of thinking and thought processes are going to go into the thinking of these players. Pep staying obviously has a factor. Players signing, is Pep going to be at the club? Great news for any players coming in, because you're going to get coached by Pep Guardiola for the foreseeable future. Unbelievable news. Get your comments in below. Let me know your thoughts. Like and subscribe to Typical City, and I'll see you in the next one.
This is Typical City now.